Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss chapter 8, cell structure and function. This is your class 8 for subject science. This will be the lecture 1 of this chapter. And I will be also discussing the activities which I gave you yesterday. So let's start with the lecture. Topics to be discussed. Introduction of cell and activities. So these topics we are going to discuss today. As you can see here, this is brick and this is a wall made up of brick. Okay, and here on the right hand side it is what? It's an onion peel microscopic view. So as cells are also considered as building blocks of an organism. Fine, as this cell is making this wall, similarly this onion peel cells is making a complete onion. Okay, so let's start with cell. In the living organisms, cells are basic structural units. Okay, so in the living organism, cells are what? Cells are basic structural units. Cells may be compared to bricks. Cell can be compared to bricks. Right now I have compared cell to the bricks, right? Bricks are assembled to make a building. Similarly, cells are assembled to make the body of every organism. Okay, so like the bricks are making the building, cells are making the organism. So it is the basic structural and functional unit of life. All organisms are made up of cells. So it is basic functional and structural unit of life, and each and every organisms are made up of cells. Subcellular structures. What are subcellular structures which are present inside the cell? Include cell organelles, plasma membrane, nucleus, etc. Size of the cell is 1 to 100 micrometer. This is the size of the cell. Cells are produced by the division of pre-existing cell. Cells are produced by the division of pre-existing cells. The cells comes from pre-existing cells. Okay. Each cell contains genetic material. Each and every cell has a genetic material that is passed down during reproduction process. Okay. So cells are coming from where? They are coming from the previous cells only. And each and every cell is having some kind of genetic material that is passed to the next generation through the process of reproduction. So after this chapter you will study about reproduction. Okay, and it is like whatever the genes we are having similar to our parents is because of the nucleus which is carrying the genetic material which is coming from the parents to the offspring. So that we will learn about it later on. Cells in the living organisms are complex. So in the living organism, cells are complex living structures unlike non-living bricks. So if we compare the living organisms to the non-living organism, the cells of living organisms are a bit complex and non-living bricks are not complex as such. So all basic chemical and physiological functions like repairing, growth, excretion, movement, immunity, communication and digestion are happening inside the cells. Okay, so all these physiological functions are going inside the cell. Fine. Now let's discuss the activities. So first activity is take a poppy leaf petiole. Prepare thin sections of it in a dish containing water. Then take a thin section out and observe under the microscope. Draw and write what you observe. Okay. So find this kind of activity. I told you that you need to read the chapter, then you will get the answers of it. So I hope you have read the chapter. Let's discuss the activity. See, first of all, what is petiole? This particular part is known as petiole. Okay, and this is a poppy leaf. Fine, so this will be the petiole. And what you need to have when you are doing the activity is you need few slides, and you need glycerine, saffron in solution. Saffron is a staining dye. You need a dropper, you need a forceps, you need cover slips to cover the slides, you need needle and brush, you need distilled water, and you need a compound microscope. So all these things are available in our biology lab. So you are going to take the leaf peel, then you are going to then you are going to clean it, then you are going to put it in the water. You are going to add saffron in, then you need to clean the saffron. You are going to clean it with distilled water for avoiding extra saffron in on it, and so that it should not be overstained. Then you are going to put it on the slide. Then you will put the cover slips. There should be no air bubbles. So all these steps you are going to follow for making a temporary mount. This activity we are going to do in the biology lab as soon as school will get open. Okay, and we are going to do it with onion peel also, and we will have an observation under the microscope as well. So this kind of observation you will see under the microscope. There will be a cell wall, because it is what? It's a plant cell. Plant cell has a cell wall. Okay. Then we will study about this why plant cell has cell wall in the upcoming lectures. Then we have nucleus. This nucleus is the brain of the cell. It is present in the center. Okay. And there is a vacuole. Vacuole is present. Vacuole contains the food. This also we will study. And there is the matrix known as cytoplasm. So we are going to, these all are what? These are the part of cell, and they are also known as cell organelles. So we are going to learn about them in detail in the chapter. Fine. So if you are going to observe a plant cell, this all things you will observe in it. This is a cytoplasm. This is cell membrane. These are ribosomes. These are cell wall. These are chloroplast. This is the vacuole in which the plant cell contains the food. This is mitochondria, which is also known as powerhouse of the cell, and this is the nucleus. So this is how a cell will appear in front of you. We are going to learn about the plant cell in detail in the upcoming lectures, but like right now showing you the plant cell, how a plant cell will be there, because what is puppy leaf? Puppy leaf also is a part of plant, so it will be what? It will be a plant cell. Okay. Fine. Now, activity number 2. Prepare a list of at least 3 different living objects and 3 non-living objects. Okay, so you can easily prepare. For example, living object, you can say yourself. Okay, you can say plant. You can say a cockroach, a lizard, whatever is there nearby you. Then non-living, there is a chair, table, iron, many things, mobile phone, all are non-living. Now you have to observe fine section of their parts under the microscope. So you do not take mobile phone and observe the sections inside the microscope. Sorry, under the microscope. So you are going to do it with other things, like you can do it with wood. Fine. Write the difference and you observe. Okay. So this is what we are going to do, that we already know the differences between non-living and living objects, right? So what will the difference between like if we are going to observe it under a microscope? First of all, what do cells look like under the microscope? You know, living things are made up of cells, right? But what do cells look like? An important thing to notice about cell is that they are surrounded by a membrane, which I just now told you is known as cell membrane or plasma membrane. It looks like a thin outline on the slide. So it will look like a thin outline on the slide. So whenever you see something living, so you can see that membrane. Okay. So that means it already means that that particular thing is a living thing. So you can differentiate either you don't know that, like if I make a slide and I give you two slides, that you just tell me which one is made up of living things or which one is made up of non-living things. So this is the first thing which you are going to observe, that is there is a membrane or not. If there is a membrane, then that particular thing is a living thing. Fine. Next is characteristics of living thing. Now how you are going to distinguish between living thing and non-living thing if you don't know which objects you have taken. All living things consist of cells. Fine, you know that. While the cellular structure of different type of organisms varies a great deal, all cells have something in common, such as the cell membrane, cytoplasm and ribosomes. So if they are like if we talk about cells, they have either cell membrane or they have cytoplasm or they have ribosomes. Fine. So these are the characteristics of a living thing. If you are observing non-living material under a microscope, you will not observe cellular structure. If you are going to observe non-living material under a microscope like iron, you are not going to observe any cell structure. Material may not organized into distinct compartments. So material must not be organized into distinct compartments also. Fine. Living multicellular organisms. First of all, I want to make it clear to all of you that we are multicellular. We are not unicellular. So if they are saying living multicellular organism, it could be you also. Will be divided into many cells. They will be divided into many cells. By living, unicellular organisms may move independently. Unicellular organisms can move independently. They are not going to depend on any other cell. Using small hairs called cilia and long weep-like structure called flagella. Because of cilia and flagella, they are going to move independently. And most of all, you can see these differences also between living things and non-living things. For living things are the things which can breathe, move, grow, reproduce, feel and respond to changes around them. For example, insect, plants, birds, animal, etc. And what about non-living things? These are the things which cannot breathe, they cannot move, they cannot grow, they cannot reproduce, they cannot feel, they cannot respond to the changes around them. For example, furniture, buildings, etc. Now this is the third activity. Take pond water. Okay. Put a drop of it on a slide and observe under the microscope. Write your observations. This is again one of the examples. So it will be containing bacteria and protozoans. So what type of bacteria you can observe? Okay. So bacteria have different shapes. So let's study. One of the shape is cocci, or you can say coccus. It is oval shape. Other is bacillus. Bacillus is a bacteria of curd also. The name of the bacteria in curd is lactobacillus. So it's a rod shaped bacteria. Okay. Then there is vibrio. Vibrio is a comma shaped bacteria. Spirilla, this kind of bacteria. And spirochaetes, this kind of bacteria. So these are the type of different shape of bacteria, and these shape you can find under a microscope if you are observing pond water drop. Fine. Then the other thing which you can see is protozoa or the protozoans. So there are type of protozoans: rhizopoda, ciliata, flagellata, sporozoa, amoeba, paramecium, euglena. Euglena is also known as plant animal because it shows the property of plant and animal both. It's a connecting link between plant and animal. It shows some of the property of plant and some of the property of animal. So these all things also you can observe under a microscope. Okay, so next activity is take a drop of blood on a slide and make a smear of it by spreading it with the help of another slide. So you are going to take a slide and you are going to take a blood drop and you are going to make a smear by spreading it with the help of another slide. Watch it under the microscope. Now you are going to watch that under the microscope. Draw and write what you observe. Try to find out how many types of structures you can see. Okay, so what you are going to observe in that slide, particularly when you are observing the temporary mound, you will see red blood cells. Those are also known as RBCs, or you can say red blood corpuscles. White blood cells, which is also known as WBC, and you are going to observe platelets. Those are thrombocytes. Fine. So, are the structures of the cells you observe same or different? Now you need to tell that the structure you observed from the blood are same in like they are same or they are different. So, beta blood cells look like this. Either white blood cells, red blood cells, or platelets. Platelets look like this. They are also known as thrombocytes. Red blood cells are like this. They are also known as erythrocytes. And WBCs have categories like basophil, neutrophil, eosinophil, monocyte, and lymphocytes. So this is how the structures of blood cells look like. So these are you are going to observe under a microscope if you are observing a drop of blood. Now we are going to discuss the thought questions which I gave you yesterday. Why should there be need of cells in living being? As you already know that cell is a structural and functional unit of life, right? So let's discuss the answer. Cells are the basic unit of living thing. We all know that. Like bricks are the basic unit of the house and the walls. Similarly, cells are the basic unit of living thing. Cells contain all the nutrients, DNA information, and many other things to help our body function in everyday things. So they do carry the nutrients, they do carry DNA information also from parents to offspring, and they help in carrying all the body function in everyday lives, such as respiration, reproduction, okay, excretion, digestion, whatever it is all because of cell. Because we are multicellular. Cell will make tissue, tissue will make organ will make organ system, and organ system will make an organism. Fine. Since they are the building block of all living matter, we couldn't live without them. So they are building block of all the living matter. So we will not be able to survive without cells. We will not exist also. We would be non-existent without them. Basically, all cells have a purpose. So they have a purpose, and that's why they are present inside the body. Next question. Should single cellular organisms have appeared on earth first or multicellular? Adduce arguments in support of your opinion. First of all, cells comes from pre-existing cells. This I told you, right? So there is a possibility that the first cell which came on earth was single cell, and those were unicellular. And this is how you will learn in class 9th also by diversity of living organism that cell which came on earth was first, and those were prokaryotes. Fine, let's read out the answer also. The first known single cell organism appeared on earth about 3.5 billion years ago, roughly a billion years after earth formed. Fine. So after the earth is formed, after a billion years, these single cell organisms appear on earth. More complex forms of life took longer to evolve with. Okay, the first multicellular animals not appearing until about 600 million years ago. Okay, so first multicellular organisms was not able to appear till 600 million years, like after 600 million years also. Next question. Are fundamental laws of physics applicable to living beings or not? Write with arguments. So, you know what are the fundamental laws of physics? Energy, gravitation, fine. So, those laws of physics are going to be applicable with humans. Okay, before starting with the answer, I will give you an example that when we eat something, it goes downwards. This is how our digestive tract is, right? As you have learned in class 7th also, nutrition in animals, that it starts from the mouth, it goes to the esophagus, then to the stomach, then to the intestine, and then finally coming out from the anus. So this is how the law, this is actually favoring what? Law of gravitation. Because from up to down, everything is coming. So we are actually following what? Law of gravitation. So this is the answer. Biology is the study of living organisms. Physics is the study of matter and the laws of nature to understand the behavior of matter and the universe. Fine. The Biophysical Society, means combining the bio also and physics also, explains that when the scientists combine physics and biology, they learn more about the biological system on a molecular or atomic level. By taking a quantitative approach to biological questions, a scientist gains a better understanding of patterns that occur in living organisms. Fine. Physics provides the basis of biology. Without space, matter, energy, and time components that make up the universe, living organism would not exist. So this is the name of a physicist, Richard Feynman, said that everything on earth is made up of atoms, basic unit of matter that constantly move. Since biology has its foundation in physics, it applies physical natural laws to the study of living organisms. So it applies, right? Physics helps living organisms. Physics helps explain how bats use sound waves to navigate. See, bats are what? They are, in Hindi, they are known as chamkadar. They are the only flying mammal. They are using sound waves, ultrasound waves for the navigation. Okay, navigation means to travel. They are not going, they travel because of ultrasonic waves. Okay, and they can travel in the dark also. And this ultrasonic waves is the part of physics. So this is how the physics is explaining how bats is using ultrasonic waves for the navigation, and how wings give insect the ability to move through the air, and how the wings of the insects is giving ability to move them through the air. Fine. And here again, you know, there is a law of conservation of energy, that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can change its form from one to another, right? So when we talk about here in biology also, like we get food, we get energy from food from the form of carbohydrates, fats, others. Then this energy goes into the body and forms ATP. ATP is the body energy currency, and then it release heat also. They release chemical waste also, like carbon dioxide, water, through respiration. Fine. Then this ATP is helping in metabolism. Metabolism is turning into heat. So this is how the energy is getting inside the body of the human. So here also energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is just transforming its form from food energy, from carbohydrates, fats and others, to ATP, then to metabolism, then to heat. Like this, the complete cycle is going on. So homework for today is, question number 1, you need to draw a plant cell. Question number 2, you need to define what is cell. So define cell. That's all for today. Thank you.